Many lesson plans focus on what the teachers are doing, right? It's step 1, you do this, step 2, you do this, step 3, you do this. And we wanted to give teachers an opportunity to explore kind of just an alternate way of writing a lesson plan and thinking about, well, what are the teachers doing? And then what are students doing when the teacher is doing those things? And kind of put students into the lesson plan. And I think that that's a really important part of the preparation for responding to the student thinking, is to plan for the student thinking. So think about, well, what are the questions that students are going to have that they struggle with? And so there'll be some students that you know are going to finish early. So what are you going to ask them that's going to keep them involved in the same problem, but maybe extend the mathematics for them because they're prepared for it? But to do all of those things in your lesson plan, the more prep you do beforehand, the easier it's going to be in the moment.
We just want to kind of brainstorm what specific math content you might use. And it's not going to be an extensive list, but we wanted to kind of get people's motors running. And so we're just going to ask for some specific things. And you tell us, do you think it's specific for the arch? Do you think it's specific for 141? Or do you think it's something that you could get at, an aspect of teaching get at for both of them?
So we asked teachers to reflect on their experience looking at the arch pattern and looking at pattern 141, both the scaffolded and the open-ended approach. And what we asked them to do is to brainstorm all the different mathematical topics that you can get at with either one of those.
So we're going to get as many materials as we can. We'll start throwing them out on the table. We're going to put these up, but now we're going to let you guys work in your groups.
We gave teachers some time collectively in groups to look at a lesson planning template and to play around with it with one of the 2 visual patterns that we'd explored. The template works as pose a problem, students working individually on that problem, discussing the work that they've done on that problem, and then kind of the summing up activity. And then for each of those sections, they were thinking about what's the main math activity that students are doing, what student responses do you expect, and then notes on teaching.
Pairing a lower level student with like a mid-level student or mid-level with a high,
right.
Just to build on where they are.
And have them put both their methods together, or you know what I mean?
Think so.
Like have them share both of their methods.
Because they can both gain from it. Mm-hmm. You know, the one that's looking for the formula may not realize, oh, it was neat to do it your way type of thing. So, and then they work back and forth.
I feel like we just have to add something writing. We have to do a reflection or
right at the end.
At the end.
These are the things that you expect students to say when they don't understand something. You anticipate their questions, so in your mind, I have an answer for you. You know, because the idea is not to tell them, give them the answer, but to have questions that would lead to leading them to find the answer to their own questions.
So while the teachers were working on the lesson plans, we walked around and we supported them, and they were supporting each other, and then they presented those lesson plans to each other, and they made comments and supported each other's work at that point.
And you know, don't let them suck you into telling them. Little hints to get them going.
They're going to say, wow, why is this graph not a straight line? And our responses would be, here, what does it represent? We're going to elicit that from our students, and hopefully they notice that what they're observing is a change, right? A change in the area.
The moment where that teacher prep comes into play is if you've done prep and you're thinking about, well, I want to show these different strategies and I want to show them in this order. You can do that work beforehand, so when students are doing the work, you can identify the students who demonstrate the strategy that you want to discuss. And so that's all things that you do beforehand so that you can be with them in the moment.
And what we would hope would happen with the class, we would anticipate, is that some would draw pictures, some might make a table. And what our goal is that when we do the whole class discussion, that we would have an exemplar model going from the concrete picture all the way up to the table. I guess a follow-up to that would be maybe give them another problem and have them organize a table for a follow-up problem to see that they can do it on their own.
You can think of a student-centered classroom. Students pose the problem, students do a lot of the work, and students present their work and ask each other questions. It sounds like, where's the teacher in all of that? And where the teacher is in all of that is having carefully prepared for each of those phases, they're able to ask questions. When students are working on the problem, when they're in that phase, what are the questions that teachers can ask to help support them? If you wait till the moment there's that temptation to just tell them. But if we have questions on deck, well, this is what I think students are going to struggle with. And then what questions can I ask to not do all the work for them, but just give them a little bit so that they can keep going and not get stuck. And that struggle can be productive and not just shut them down.